You are listening to the WYRD Mountain Gals Show. Prepare yourself.
Hey,
the recording is in progress.
That's exactly what we needed. We couldn't have done without that, you know.
No, I was feeling a little sad and a little weak thinking about it because I didn't know if the recording was in progress or not. I didn't know how to behave.
And now it is.
Recorded.
I mean, shoot.
Crow.
That's the first one in a while. We totally behaved ourselves last week. Did you notice?
I did. I thought we were awfully good.
I thought we were off our game.
Yeah. We definitely were. I got to tell you, our buddy Lisa contacted me today to see how I was feeling. And I said, I got to be honest with you. I didn't realize how much pain I was in till I wasn't in pain. I just didn't know. And and so now, I mean, it's a little stiff and a little uncomfortable. I'm aware, tender, but not, oh my God, not from ear to chin. Pounding pain like I've had for 2 months. So
that'll affect your outlook, won't it?
It sure has, and I think it had certainly affected my outlook last week because, boy, was I sour. Oh, sour.
You were all right. You told some good stories about Bridget, I thought.
I was pretty sour.
No, you were letting the stories just roll off. I remember those stories. I thought, well, we ended up, that was pretty nice. And I want you to know that Sonia called.
She called me earlier and I couldn't take the call. What did she call you about?
She wants to sign up for an Only Grants membership. We have a winner. We have a winner.
Gosh.
We got to do it.
Would that be on the OnlyFans website, but we'd call ourselves Only Grands?
It would be Only Grand, yeah.
Oh my God, that Sonia, she is such a wild thing.
She's hilarious, but you know, she's smart and she is concerned about the same kind of stuff that you and I are, you know, and the weirdlings, the future of the weirdlings and all of that, how they're going to go and conquer the world, you know. Ilsa is out doing that right now in spite of some hardship.
Yes. She's got her new mutual aid hub that she's put together. I'm really proud of her.
The Wandering Circle of Wisdom is what it's called. And she's coordinating something called Wisdom Fest down in her parish. That's a lot of work that she took on. I would never tell anybody to take on that amount of work. But if she's capable of doing it, I am proud of her about it. And then, so now, one at a time, those weirdlings, they're finding their place in the world.
Do you feel like a baby? I mean, a mama bird with a nest full of little fledglings.
Well,
and
sort of.
Getting on the edge of the nest and flying off. It feels good.
It feels very good. They don't feel like fledglings to me. They feel like my friends, that we're all just kind of evolving, and that's what's happening, I think. Today is February 6th, I believe. Am I right about that? Is it Thursday? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Thursday. I didn't remember that, but it is Thursday.
It was a momentous day today because 51 years ago, Miss Venita was in labor.
Oh, no.
Yes, she was, and today Selby is 51 years old.
Good Lord!
Our boy is growing up.
Don't tell him this though. I know he'll hear it. I had no idea he was that old because he sure doesn't look that old.
He's timeless, and let me tell you, I've got a photograph. I might have told you this story, but the first time I ever met him, I didn't know I was going to meet him. He was at a party, and but I knew the second that I met him that he was a friend for life, and he has been. But the first probably 30 seconds that I met him, I took a photograph of him, and I still use that photograph as his profile picture. So I can tell you with authority that that boy hasn't changed. There might be a few more gray hairs, just a few. But other than that, he looks exactly the same as he used to. It's crazy. Men can do that.
Well, I mean, let me just say happy birthday to young Selby. What an amazing man he is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He's a favorite, can you tell? Let's see. And what else did I have to tell? I'm sure I had stuff to tell you. I'm sure I did. But there's been so many things and going on. Some of them are just not appropriate to bring up with me and you because we're going to end up cussing if we bring it up. And you're in a bad mood well, not a bad mood, but you're already suffering some from your surgery, your tooth surgery.
Honestly, I am in such a better place than I was. Well, certainly than I was 24 hours ago. But yeah, I'm just in a better place. I've had some energy today. I was dreading. I had to go get tires today. Oh, I was dreading it. And honestly, it was smooth as glass. I went out.
Wow.
I always get my tires out at New Bridge. Hey, y'all at New Bridge.
Hey, y'all.
and I went out there kind of an experimental thing about 12:30.
Yeah.
To see how busy they were going to be because I had other things I needed to get done in North Asheville.
Yeah.
And when I pulled up there, well, the parking lot was like half empty. And I thought, well, I wonder if they're, if they're shorthanded today or if I just hit the jackpot. And sister, I hit the jackpot.
All right.
I pulled in there and I went inside and put my keys on the counter and I said, I want 4 new ones on that Corolla. And she said, well, yes, ma'am. And she said, we'll check and see if we got them in stock. So I don't know, 5-6 minutes later, one of the, big bosses out there came and he sat down beside me, so quiet and calm, like he was about to give me bad news. And me and you have spent the last 4 or 5 months at every damn doctor there could be. So it was a moment of, well, ma'am, here's the thing. And he went through the whole range of what kind of tires I could possibly get. So I chose some. And he said, well, and we got plenty of those in stock. So it'll be ready here in a few minutes. And he got up and they got started. I made a picture and put it on Facebook where they had all the tires off, all the wheels off the car. There wasn't anybody standing around it. And somebody said, your car's barefooted. I was in and out of there in under 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, every now and then that can happen.
It can happen. And they were just as sweet as candy to me. The gal whose name I can't call right now, but I know it. If I was in my right mind. I was sitting there waiting and she did not yell from the counter. Toyota Corolla, you're up. She just came walking over to me and she said, well, the Corolla's ready. And I said, well,
that's so awesome. I love that.
And I came over and paid for it. And she said, and these are your keys? Yes, ma'am. Those are my keys. And by God, it's like, I feel like the Queen of Sheba with them new tires.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Beautiful tires.
That is so awesome. I love it when people have their poop in a group when you're working with them, and I love it. I love it. Well, I had good news, maybe good news anyway. It might be unbelievable news. Who knows? It's been 12 days since I had that dose of, which maybe I'm not allowed to say it on the air. I don't know. But I'm down to half the asthma medicine that I usually take.
Oh, my gosh. That's wonderful.
It's life-changing because I don't know if you can hear me, but I don't sound stopped up.
You don't at all.
and I've had no allergy medicine, nothing today. I mean, nothing. And I don't even know what to say to that. I can't even remember that ever happening in my life. And so
Wow.
it's way too soon to count on it.
Yes.
They said you can't count on anything for at least a month. And some people it's up to 4 months. So it might be that it's in my body, and it gave me a big push at first, and my body will push back and it won't work. So, but right now, let me tell you, I am enjoying myself like you wouldn't believe. Waking up and just feeling clear, and I feel like I could sing an extra octave. I do.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I had some little bit of hives on my ankles because that's where mast cells live when they come out in your body and they weigh a lot, and they just basically fall down your body until they end up at your ankles. And so,
it's gravity.
Gravity, yeah. And those rashes are going away. And I've had that one rash since the big tree, since your yard man was cutting down the vines off of that big tree.
Oh yeah.
I had the one rash. Yeah, and so it's like, this might actually be too good to be true. I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I'm trying to be not attached to an outcome, because I've been in this place a million times before, you know.
Bless your heart. I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yep. You and I.
But boy, I'm gonna keep my fingers. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you, because that sounds good.
You know what? If this keeps up, I'm gonna do a dance. I'm gonna have a campfire with a big old guitar jam. I'm gonna do something crazy. Well, that's not really crazy, is it?
No. Well, I mean, considering how careful you had to be for so long, it feels crazy, but it's not crazy.
Well, I've never known life. I have never known life without asthma, ever. Not once, not even as a toddler.
In all your many years of living on
many years. Yep. I've never known it. So the closest I've ever gotten was when I could take something that might have an effect on it, a temporary effect. And, you know, at my age, some of the things that they want you to take for your lungs are really not healthy things to be taken at all. So I'm thrilled as hell to be getting off of. If I do, indeed, I'll be absolutely thrilled, unbelievably happy. And I feel pretty good. I haven't slept well, but boy, I've been working my butt off, burning some calories.
Feeling good is the key, man. I've been dragging my big white behind for months now. And when about 12 today, when I was in the car driving over to get my new tires, I was thinking, I don't know how I functioned in January in the beginning of this month. I don't know how I did it. And I launched a book, and I did all this different stuff. And
oh my God, did you ever do some stuff?
I honestly don't know how I made it through all that. Sheer stubbornness, I guess, and force of will. You know how damn willful I am.
Yes, I do. Were you born on Wednesday?
No, I was born on a Friday.
Okay, just wondered. I was born on a Wednesday, but I figured you had too.
No, I'm Friday's child, loving and giving.
Loving and giving. Okay, yeah, I would agree. Agree.
Not everybody would. Anyway.
Well, sometimes they serve you the supper that you've earned. So
yes, that's true. That's very true. But like you, I'm just trying to not be attached to any kind of outcome about anything.
Yeah.
Our friend Krista, she just sent me a little note and sent me a picture of herself, and she's back in the hospital. But
I did not.
But they did some procedure and then told her she could eat. And that gal had in front of her this tray just full of all different kinds of food. And she was so excited. She got to eat anything she wanted to eat, which I guess was within reason. But she had a big grin on her face and looked so happy. So I'm hoping this is the last turning the corner for her, so she can get herself home again and get back to healing herself up and all that. She's got such a strong, sweet spirit.
She's a strong, sweet person.
Yeah, but boy, she has been tested like so many people have right now.
Here's the thing. You and me talked about it a lot more when we were more in the middle of triage with the hurricane. But the fact is, there is mental illness everywhere in the world, but it's really concentrated, it's really come to flower here in Appalachia where we were hit with the hurricane.
I love the come to flower. Come to flower is a good way to put it.
Well, everybody has got their mental health issues, and it's so widespread that I don't really know what answer there is for it. I don't. I've thought about it, and I do believe that there's a lot of people who are still in a lot of denial, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm fine, nothing. I've made it through this. Everybody else is weak, and I'm strong." But you know what? We have all been traumatized by it, whether we admit it or not. And so I don't know how that is dealt with on a large group basis. How do you heal a whole community with trauma?
And I don't know the answer to that. And you and I both can say that this is trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in Appalachia, and we ain't even coal country Appalachia.
No.
So we ain't got coal trauma down here and all that nasty political.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd go ahead and say that so you could crow it out.
I love it. I'd love to leave it in. Y'all can just imagine what that crow was all about, okay? I'm going to imagine it and smile.
So, but we still, it's just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma.
Yeah. I agree.
That surgery I had yesterday, and I'm not whining about it because I'm really so grateful that he was able to do what he did. But I was so cavalier about it because I've had so many things done inside my mouth that he was like, "Do you want me to knock you out, or can we do that with a local?" And I said, "You can do it with a local. Look at my mouth. I've been through it all. I have never in my life, and I've been through a lot of different kinds of pain in my life. I have never felt pain like that, never. But through the whole thing, when I was crying and cussing and gripping the sides of the chair and huffing and puffing, I was terrible. I just kept thinking, this is hard, but it's nothing compared to losing your parents, losing your home, losing your job, losing your car. It's nothing compared to that. Nothing. So I'm going to have 30, 45 minutes of this really terrible, terrible experience. But at the end of it, I'm going to be healing up from something that's been eating me up for a year. So, in my head, I just kept saying, "Yep, this is hard. Yep, this is bad." Tears streaming down my face. The doctor must have thought, "Oh my God, I'm killing her. I'm killing her." I just kept thinking, yeah, this is bad, but it ain't nothing compared to what other people have gone through. And that, as far as I can tell, from growing up in West by God, Buncombe County, that is the Appalachian mantra. Well, this is bad, but other people got it worse.
Yeah. And I think you might be right.
And we say that about stuff all the time. And during the early triage work with Katrina, Alicia, there were people who'd say, "Oh no, I don't need that. You find somebody needs it more than I do." And there were people that would just refuse food and water and aid because there might be somebody worse off than them. And that says something, I think, remarkable about Appalachian people. Just remarkable. It does. Now, it also feels a little bit foolish if you ain't got food and water and your children are hungry. go ahead and take that and assume that, yes, there may be people worse off, but somebody else going to take care of them. But yeah, I think that I grew up with that. And I know you did too. The idea that, yeah, it might be right now that it's Thursday evening and Daddy doesn't get paid till tomorrow, and so soup beans is a little thin on the table. But you know what? Daddy gets paid tomorrow, and then we'll have some food Saturday.
Right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Well, hey, speaking of soup beans, I have a question for you.
All
Me
right.
and Mom were trying to remember. Do you remember Fatback?
Yeah, I had Fatback about 6 weeks ago. Why?
Do they sell it still? That's what we were trying to figure out.
Well, yeah, I get it at the Salve more on Patton Avenue.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Fatback.
Huh.
And I think it's well, they also call it salted Fatback. I think is what they call it. Yeah, that's what I make my cracklings for my cornbread for New Year's with.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Is there's certain kind of cornbread that you want to make that's really rich and it's got blah 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 blah, and that's when we were talking about it. And I know they sell cracklings, or no, I'm sorry, they sell chitterlings. Is how they spell it.
Chitlins.
Chitlins is how we know it, but they spell it chitterlings.
Yes.
But well, I don't know. We were just talking about it.
You can also get hog jowl, and a lot of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the good old streaked chicken. My grandfather used to call it.
We used to call it streaked meat.
Yeah, and streaked meat, and he'd also called it deer meat, dear old meat.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he grew up dirt poor, I think, in a sharecropping place down in Georgia somewhere. Dear old meat. Let's have some of that deer meat, baby girl. That dear old meat.
Well, I do remember that a lot of stuff was cured or seasoned with Fatback. I mean, a lot of stuff. All your beans were, as far as I can tell, all the beans were. Even green beans would have that in it sometimes. Or they'd have bacon in it.
Because, I tell a story about my great grandmother on my mother's father's side, there, how Southern was that. And she lived to be 106 years old. And she remembered when Abraham Lincoln was president. That's how old this woman was. And she lived the last 10 years of her life, is the story, eating nothing but the fat that was on top of green beans. So she might get a green bean or two, and horehound candy and drinking Coca-Colas. That's all she wanted. That's all she wanted to eat and drink. And she'd have coffee.
And how long did she live doing that?
106. I met her theoretically. She died I think a couple years after I was born, so in the 50s.
Wow.
I don't remember her, but there's a picture of her somewhere holding me when I was a little infant, when I was an enfant terrible. I'm too old to be an enfant terrible now. I have to be a old lady terrible.
How would you dress up for Halloween as that?
Oh boy, that's a good question. You're full of good questions there. You must be feeling sassy. I don't know.
I am.
I'd probably just wear my regular clothes. I went in. I'm gonna move right to another story of being an old woman. So I decided, because we may or may not be going out of town next week. All of that is going to hinge on this big snowstorm that's about to hit the Northeast. But I went over to the what is that cheap haircut place? Great Clips. Went over to Great Clips. And went in and I showed her pictures of Judi Dench's little pixie haircut. I said, that's what I want. And I loud as how a friend had cut my hair early days of Helene. And then I had decided that I was going to make it better and did not do that by cutting it myself in the bathroom mirror. And she just laughed and laughed. And she said, oh, no, we can do that. Don't you worry. And then, so she cut it, and I'm looking at it. Well, it looks all right, I guess. And then she put some, can I put some product in it? Yeah, sure, why not? And then she started doing this crazy thing where she brushed my hair straight back like a politician. And then she pulled out something that was like halfway bangs over to one side and made those down smooth over my forehead. I swear I look like the craziest jackass out of Broughton you ever saw. And she turned me around, handed me my glasses, put my glasses on, and she said, "Well, what do you think?" And I just reached up and put my fingertips from both hands into my scalp and went and just it all around. And then I shook my head and I went, "Yeah, that's what I wanted," just like that. And she went, "Oh, I see." Yeah, okay.
That's funny. That is hilarious. When I forget which prom it was. I went to a lot of proms, okay? Now, I'm not trying to sound like a or anything, but I went to a lot of proms because I knew a lot of people and I had been in a lot of school systems.
And don't forget, beautiful and beautiful.
No, it wasn't that. But I loved proms because I could dance. But I remember I went to I think it was the Asheville High School prom actually, and for once I went to a hair salon, to a stylist, because my mom or somebody had been on me about my hair being too wild and long and stuff. And I went to this stylist and I said, "Can you give me big hair like Dolly Parton big hair?" Because Dolly, I really loved her hair. I did. That gal said, "Sure." And we made an appointment, and she set aside 4 hours for me, and it was not going to be cheap. When I came out of that, I was never so disappointed in anything in my life. Because that big hair, she couldn't figure out how to do it. So rather than say something to me about it while she was going along, I wasn't facing a mirror. And she's like, pull here, pull there, pull here, pull there. I don't know what that is. She ended up giving me like some slick back Kim Kardashian kind of thing, where it was my hair was slicked back and one pigtail hanging down. It was like, that's the opposite of big hair.
Wow.
But she still wanted to be paid, and I paid her. And I learned a lesson. I have big hair, and my hair is big enough. When the wind blows, it's really big.
But I mean, as long as your hair is now, there's no way. I can't imagine somebody being able to. You just have to do what Dolly does and go down to the wig boutique and get you a wig that's about the color of your hair and put it on top of your head.
Well, when there was this parade in Asheville, they may still have it. It was like a Mardi Gras parade kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there was a year when somebody put this contraption on my head made with the coat hangers, sticking all out, and they took my hair and they wrapped the hair around the coat hangers.
Oh, Lord.
So that it looked like my hair was sticking up and straight up, and it was like, 3 feet big. It was huge.
Oh.
It was giant, and I was wearing a golden robe, and I had what the hell was that thing? Something in my hand, and I was holding it straight up. I was on a float. I was on a cruise. Yep. That's my shot in the sun. That was my shot in the sun.
You know what? I got to tell you, I'm just not worried about much of anything right now because I'm worried about so much.
Yeah, I know. Join the club. Everybody, I think, is with you. So many people feel something is momentous is going on. They may not know what. They got a sense of being afraid because it's unknown. All they know is something's happening, and they have a feeling it's going to be a real change. And so people are super nervous, and people who scry, we've been nervous for a while. And this kind of seems like Well,
It's true. Team Cassandra.
Yeah. But to me, it just seems like, well, hell, this time got here sooner than I wanted it to.
Well, and I don't know if I've said it on the podcast or not, but I've done 2 different kinds of card readings, and I've done journeying, and my intuition tells me that this first 100 days, and it's not even 100 days at this point, is going to be just off the wall. It's stuff you're going to look at it and go, how is that even a thing? I mean, it's just stuff that you look at it and go, what civilized nation behaves that way? Well, I mean, we ain't never been a civilized nation, and so we still aren't. So, given. So, all of that, the cards, intuition, even I scribed the crystal ball last week, and it all says the first 100 days, hard, hard, hard. But that first 100 days is for us to develop strategy that we should have been developing for the past 4 years, which we didn't because we stuck our head in the sand and went, oh, I'm sure we'll never reelect that guy, or I'm sure this will never happen again. So we just la our way through it. And so the first 100 days, crazy, crazy. After that, everything implodes.
Yeah.
And it's 2 years. At the midterms, everything changes. Everything. And the intuition and what I'm learning is not that everything changes because the Democrats rally at the midterms and then everything is wonderful. It's that it changes, big changes. So for what it's worth, that's what you got. You got 100 days, of which we've already used up, 14?
At least,
I don't know, something like that. And then what's left of the 100 days is going to be just us trying to analyze systems and find the vulnerabilities and exploit them. And then in 2 years, big change. So that's what your witchy Cassandra friend has to say about that. But I'm telling you, what will not help you in any way is just to hit the ground whining. That ain't helping nobody.
Okay.
So when you wake up in the morning, if you feel like you need to hit the ground whining, I want you to go back to bed and think about it for a minute before you get up.
Go back to bed and start over again.
Yep, get out on the other side of the bed. Crazy.
Here's the way I would put it to somebody who was doubtful about it. Okay. What I would say is, what'll it hurt to be ready? What does it hurt to be prepared? Why not try it? I mean, if nothing happens, great. You've got some extra food put back or some extra knowledge in your head. Maybe some extra contacts out in the world somewhere. But what
imagine
does it
that.
hurt?
And maybe you learned how to, I don't know, build a polytunnel to grow things in, or maybe you met your neighbors and they decided they weren't going to garden this year, but you can garden in their backyard. Or maybe you met some beekeepers, or hello, all them things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And none of it's going to hurt you.
None
of it's going to hurt you.
Oh, and you reminded me of a question I have. We have decided that we want to start a tub garden, just an above ground garden. We've got some space on a porch, on a deck, you could say, some pretty big tubs. The question is, where do we get some dirt that we can trust? Because they use fertilizer on the lawn there, and so we don't want that dirt because of it. So we can't. So that scratches that. And other than that, in this county at least, how will you know where your dirt has come from? So you don't have that problem.
Yeah, because we grow our own dirt, but
right.
Boy, that is a really good question, and I will research that. There is on Facebook an Asheville Garden group. And I will post. I'm a member of that group. I'll post on there and say, where can somebody get enough
Yeah,
good, wholesome soil to
right.
do some container gardening?
Yeah, because mom's question was, and we figured that if we have that question, there's going to be other people like us who have decided for whatever reason that they need to take up some gardening. Is there any place to get dirt that hasn't been contaminated by whatever from Helene? And that's my mom's concern, and mine too, really.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
so,
mean, it's Helene, but it's also you got to make sure you aren't, you're not using soil that came from who knows where. No,
yeah.
it's a good question.
Thank you. Well, it wasn't my. Well, it just came up while we were discussing it, and we decided to start out small with some things that we love, like cucumbers and peppers and stuff. But
Yeah.
still, we don't want to. We want to do it right anyway, and it honestly it will make us feel better because we'll be doing something positive, and maybe saving some money, and we'll have some good fresh garden food. So,
Well,
but
and I mean, if push comes to shove, you can just get bags of organic soil at some place like Fifth Season.
well, we talked about that a little bit because she did do that with some of her tubs that had flower bulbs that she planted
Uh-huh.
and grew some weird ass stuff out of it, and she didn't know where that stuff came from.
Oh, okay.
So it's all right. It's okay. I mean, it's probably our best option anyway.
There's also that place, oh golly, I won't remember the name of it. It's on North Louisiana. So you go past the old Kmart and keep going north towards Emma, but before you get to Emma, it's on the right. And
Oh,
it's a bunch of young bucks, and they start out real snooty, and
yeah.
but then you just use your good old Southern charm on them, and then they
Uh,
don't treat you like an old woman. They treat you like you know what you're talking about.
that is cool. All right. That that that'll be that'll be the call tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll
And
see if I
after
can find the name of it. What a beautiful day today.
it has
I
been.
mean, it made me uncomfortable, as you know, but it also was just so beautiful.
and well, I agree. But think about it this way: it wasn't a perfect day because you had dental pain, so it was just a day
Well,
too
yeah,
early.
yeah, but my dental pain doesn't compare to what it was yesterday.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
I mean, right now I'm sitting here, and if I stop talking, I'm aware that is not everything perfect over there, but yeah, I don't have a pounding pain that goes from my left ear all the way down to my chin.
Mm,
So
that's
I'm grateful, grateful,
great.
grateful, grateful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you are definitely. And my mind just went completely blank. I was getting ready to ask you a question. Oh, I know what it was. I was just going to make the comment that I was kind of sorry that you didn't get some anesthesia or something from it. Some doctors give you nitrous oxide. And have you seen those videos of these kids
No.
coming out? Oh my God. You would be great in one of those videos because you tell it like it is. Yeah, these
Oh
people
my
who are
gosh.
especially kids. They show especially kids and teenagers who have come out of the dentist office and they're still high as a kite from whatever it is their dentist had them on, and they're just saying all kinds of stuff. I don't want to die. Not that that's funny, but you know what I mean. There's
No,
some.
and then trust me, if I ever had this to do again, when he said, "Would you like me to knock you out?" I would say, "Yes. Please use an
Yeah,
anesthesia or hit me with a hammer, whatever's gonna
yeah.
work for you, because I ain't living through that again."
Right. Well, now you know why I'm so scared about it because I had it. Yeah,
Golly.
I've had it done that way, and that's the only way they want to do work on me. And holy no, I'm a brave girl, but that's beyond it. You know. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you had it done, though. I really am.
I told myself after my trauma yesterday that I was going to take it easy today. All I have to do is go buy some tires. Well, then I went, paid some bills, and did some shopping, and then I did some more shopping. Then I made supper, and now I got to go wash the damn dishes because that's my life. So I did not take it easy today, but well, what are you going to do?
Well,
got to be done.
That's right. Those dishes don't do themselves.
I look over here and I go, oh, and there's my fiddle and my second fiddle. And I'm looking directly in front of me at an upright piano from about 1880 that not only needs to be tuned, but needs to be repaired. Now, that is the one instrument of all the instruments in this room that I actually play, and it's not playable.
And you've got instruments, you've got percussion instruments at the cottage. You've got that beautiful, sweet piano at the cottage.
Exactly, and that one also needs repair and tuning. And not in this room, but in another room, I've got 3 drums, including a beautiful Walton Boron that I actually do play, but I don't have any place to play a big Irish drum. So, but I have all of those because they are beautiful and I love the sound of them. And that damn banjo over there, I will occasionally, I don't even take it off the wall. I just go over there and I pluck at the sound of it. And I just love the sound. And that doesn't count the 20,000 books in the house. So, yeah, it's a house full of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I still believe you spend your first 30 years trying to get as much as you can, acquire, and the rest of your life after that, trying to get rid of it. That's how it's been for me. So it's all right, though. It is what it is. I mean, it could be worse. You could, but when you think about it, or when I think about it anyway, I think, somebody is not going to know me for the incredible taste I had in Carta Vista, collecting gutta percha daguerreotypes or anything. They're going to look at my Instagram feed, and that's how they'll know me.
Right.
Because that's, so it's an interesting thought. My mom is also sentimental about things, and I am too. It's like, oh, my dad's hands touched that. Oh, my grandpa had that. Oh, that my aunt gave me that. I can't get rid of this, and or even worse, somebody else that I've never met. Oh, I bet somebody loved this so much. It can't go to the trash pile.
And then we have to hope that who comes along are people like us.
Yeah,
and they go, yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's stuff that, because I've got a child, there's stuff that she will inherit, like all the family photos and all of my journals and all of the all the family stuff she will inherit. And then, anything she wants in the house is hers because she'll inherit the whole damn house. And with any luck, I will have taken the time to clear out the crap so that she's just here going, what the hell am I going to do with 3 dulcimers and a psaltery?
Who knows?
So I'm hoping I can live long enough to clean this up before she has to take it on. How's that?
These are first world problems too. If you
they really are, aren't they?
Because the folks up in Black Mountain or Swannanoa, they are at a point of not having to say that anymore. Some of them, which I know you know it. I know you know it, and that's why you've been working yourself. Working your fingers to the bone, and you do not complain. But I know you put in the hours, the time, the thought, the energy, all of it. I see. I know what you do. I know what you do.
We, all of us, do the work that's laid in front of us.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess that's not true, but most of the people I know, and certainly the people that I love and respect, we do the work that is laid before us. That's all. At this point, I just figure everybody knows everything already.
Yeah. Well, and you'd probably be right. So, I mean, honestly, because how much more transparent can you get than I'm a social media personality, and by the way, I podcast my entire life every week.
Yeah, exactly.
So if somebody needs information on either one of us, it's not going to be too hard for them to find it. And especially you're all over the place. I didn't realize that they were naming winter storms now.
Oh, God.
And I just heard yesterday that there was a winter storm Freya. And I thought,
oh.
Who's next? And don't tell me. I don't want to know. So, anyway, I guess I should start winding down here and headed back towards.
I tell you, this is the Appalachian goodbye of all Appalachian goodbyes.
Oh, no, we've done the other one before.
Have we done more than this?
Yeah, we have. We did the whole only Grand's explanation Appalachian goodbye, where we're like, well, you take care of yourself.
Oh my God. Well, we may have some news about that later too, mightn't we?
Just never know. Just never know what you're going to get. So keep me posted. I know this storm coming in is, you're watching it pretty closely. I don't know if this is any consolation, but Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is real close to D.C., they had been predicting up to a half inch of ice. Well, they're 40 degrees right now. They're not going to get any ice unless it drops a lot. So I think the temperatures are a tiny bit warmer than they were expecting. That might be a good thing. I don't know. Hopefully it is.
It might be, but honestly, I tell you, a big storm would not hurt my feelings. If I just had to stay home, it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
Totally understand. And the bride and groom can always video it and stream it. I hope it's not a stress, no matter what.
It's so good to talk to you, Miss Alicia. This was charming, and no, we didn't cuss too much except right at the beginning.
I think we held it together right nicely. All things considered.
Oh,
Anyway.
Lordy, y'all, as Alicia will say, have some behaviors, but just try to keep it in the road. You know,
and
try not to get overly worked up on things that you hear and read that might or might not be true.
Yeah. And just stay safe and know that we think about y'all, whether we get to talk to you or not by phone. We are always thinking about you.
Always, always, always.
Yeah. All right, Byron, call if you need anything, okay?
All right. You too.
Thank
Love you, dude.
Love you. See you.
Y'all be good. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Cruising up the parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy and bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they done getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just a hit and mash, stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange. Take it from me. The wild days are coming, listen to see. Weird mountain gals on the wild days. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor still. Filled up a jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Nashville woods, to the Weird Mountain Gals neighborhood. Whining, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Whining, come and listen and see. Weird Mountain Gals on the wild. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on the wild. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on the wild.
Tune in again next week for this fine broadcast.
WYRD Radio.